All right, here we go. Episode, what's this, 3 or 4? One of them.
4, 5, 6, 4.
4, 5. With the one and only Erin Coykendall. I don't have to run down her accolades. Just Google her if you want to see them all. We're so honored to have you on this morning. What's been going on?
Not much. Just a lot of lacrosse. Living in Boston, coaching lacrosse, playing a little bit with the WLL, and have a few training camps for US coming up. But yeah, same old lacrosse.
Oh, what Aaron, you got some of the Boston girls that you coach that we come across. You know, Maddie Proud.
Oh yeah,
Proudy.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah,
she's a great kid.
Yeah, I work with her a lot.
Right. Yeah, she was super hyped to be working with you.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's fun. Yeah.
All right, so take us back a little bit backwards. What was your experience like with the WIL this spring?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, I love sixes, so I think it was like really fun to just get out there. I thought it was cool that they put us all like kind of with our college teammates, because it was just like instant. Like we didn't have that much time to like practice with it as a team before, so like playing with people that you've played with a lot was helpful. But it was just like, it was insane. The environment was so much fun. It was just really well done, and high level of competition. They took care of us well, and I thought it was just really cool to kind of see like the growth of the game, and just a ton of people like showing out. I had like a ton of people talking about how fun it was to watch on TV. So I think it was just a really cool experience in general. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that like teaming up with some of your like rivals from college?
Yeah, well, when we first like found out our teams, I was actually pumped that we were with Cuse because I feel like our teams are similar, and like we had talked about that, to just have like similar vibes. We're like really, I don't know, laid back group, and I feel like a lot of the Cuse girls are similar like that too. And sometimes like when you play teams, you can kind of tell if they're like the same as you. Like obviously when you're playing them, you're like, you guys are annoying, but like I feel like with Syracuse, like it was always an intense game when we would play them, but it was never like, I don't know, it was never chippy. It was never like, it was just like a really like good game, playing lacrosse, like fun, no like extracurriculars for lack of a better word. And so I was pumped when we were able to play with them, and then just getting to know them and, be friends with them was really cool. And I thought, even in a week, we all got pretty close and made some pretty good relationships. So it was cool.
Yeah, go ahead, Ro.
Dope. So taking us through that, so y'all had the week, right, to train as a team. Was that in Maryland? Did everybody go to Maryland? Was that in Maryland?
Yeah, it was like DC area. Yeah.
So like what outside of like the team activities, like what did you do on your own to kind of like prep and prime your body, mind for just getting ready to play in the WL?
I mean, I think it's been awesome to be able to like kind of continue playing here and there. So having opportunities like with training camps and stuff, like we still had in the fall, there was like a US training camp, and then there was another one in January. So having those to kind of like work up to, just keep you ready was huge. And then like obviously playing over the summer, I can't imagine like going from whatever it was, June to February without like having a level of competition. I think it's just like, I don't know, it kind of keeps you honest a little bit, like where you're playing against the best people. So like what you need to do and where you're at. So I think those two like events, well, there was more than that. There was like, there's one in Indy, Florida, one in Boston. So having those, and then just like, it's all like kind of just training on your own. And I actually like think that when I'm working with kids, like training kids, even though I'm not like the one doing the hard work, it's still nice to just kind of always have my stick in my hand, working on new things, like repping shots, whatever it is, just kind of trying to keep like mentally that creative mindset going where, I'm working with kids, and I might be working with the same kid like every week. And so it's, you know, you gotta like, obviously you guys know, but you gotta like get creative and find new ways to like continue to push them. And so I think that also like kind of helps me mentally stay in it and stay, you know, continuing to watch games and find new things that you can try and implement for the kids you're working with and things like that. So
Gotcha.
Is that tractor?
that was actually lunch lady.
So what's that transition been like from player to coach now? Because I'm sure you see things very differently on this side of the fence.
Yeah, it's weird. It's fun, but it's definitely different. It's like sometimes can be really frustrating because, you know, you can see things and like for me, when I see things, I just want to like get out there and do it and like rep it instead of trying to, you know, tell someone else like what I'm seeing and how to go out there and rep it or whatever it is. You know, like if it's a certain thing with the defense or, you know, just like a certain tactical piece. So it's like, it's definitely interesting. I think it's, you know, obviously also, as you guys know, it's like an incredible level of patience that it takes to be able to, sometimes it's like easier for us as athletes to just go out there and do it and not necessarily like try and talk about it and explain it and break it down. It's just easier to be like, this is what you need to do, like, and go do it yourself. So trying to like put it into words and figure out how to make it make sense to, you know, a group of however big the group is, 20 girls on a team, all who are at, you know, some are freshmen, some are seniors. So it's definitely been different, but I think it gives a lot of perspective and kind of just, I don't know. I think it requires patience, but I think it's a good thing, and it gives, you know, even more perspective just to, you know, how little, like how tedious and like there's like little nuanced things that are really important with coaching. So
now you understand why I used to be so particular with some of the stuff we did.
Yeah, and I would always, I'll like do lessons, and I'll be like, and I'll like tell these kids, I'm like, listen, like I would do this, and it's just like literally like a jab step. I'm like, I would do this for like an hour until I got it right. Like there was no moving on until it was like right. And I was like, so I know we'll be doing it for like 5 minutes, and they just like are like, can we just go shoot? I'm like, no, like I'm like, no, like sometimes I would be doing this for like a week straight until I got it right, and then we would move on. And I was like, but like I was like, my trainer literally like he broke everything down like to literally like the tiniest bits, and that's what we're gonna do. So
yeah.
Details. Rub it off that Shan, rub it off. I love it. What just I guess for me to ask that question, how has that journey been like you and Shannon? Like when did you start training with them? And just take us through that. Like how was that route? How's everything been from there? Like starting off?
Yeah. I think I want to say like maybe freshman or sophomore year of high school I started, but then was kind of like not as like consistent. But once I got to college, throughout the summers, I think is when I think probably like my senior year of high school, and then like that summer, and then like every summer of college. But it was definitely like the most impactful thing I did, just for myself, like generally in my lacrosse career. I think not only did it help me like kind of obviously like on the physical side of things where, you know, just like getting stronger, getting more comfortable with moving my body and trusting, you know, like my strength and my ability. But I think just like the confidence and the mental piece of it that was like really took me to the next level, I think. And Shannon just like did literally the best job at that. Like from the second I think I stepped in, he was like, he said something like along the lines like, do you trust me? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, and he kind of looked at me, he's like, you're going to be a Touraton finalist. And I looked at him like I was crazy. Like he was crazy. And then, and at that point it was like, I don't know, that might've been like I think it was my junior year. I think it was like the summer after my junior year, when we had lost to UNC, and he's like, he's like, if you just like, you just have to like get here, just like be here and like trust and it'll happen. And so it was just like, I mean, I think it was probably 4 days a week, a lot of times 5, with the fifth Friday, like the Friday being at the field. But it was just like all summer and just kind of really hammering in some of the same things. And then also like with Shannon, he's just like so good at understanding us on like an individual level and figuring out like how, you know, for me, like something that I thought was like huge, and I'll always tell the kids that I train, like the like amount of time we spent on behind the backs, which some people would think would be like crazy. But for me, it just like, that was something that was like, became just like a part of my game. Like it was like almost routine at like once we worked on it for probably like literally a week straight for 2 hours that whole week every day. And it was just like, I don't know. I think that the way he was able to like kind of see us as individuals and like find ways to push us in like these individual ways, you know, it's like for me, like finding different ways to shoot creatively or drop my hands and shoot around people or like get to different spots. And, you know, just challenging me consistently, I think was huge. But it was just like this constant care for what like there was like this level of care and intention, and like always still is. And you can see it with everything that he does, but it's, it just like instills this level of confidence that makes you believe in yourself, because you know how deeply like he believes in you. And I think that just really like that level, obviously like the physical preparation was is like so important, but just knowing, like having that level of confidence in me, like him having that level of confidence in me gave me like this sense of confidence in myself that like I can do all this in a game. I can translate this. And then I think one of the biggest things, like I was lucky, my Northwestern started in September, like mid-September. So I wouldn't go back until September 15th. So a lot of girls like in the college groups were gone in mid-August. So it was like those last 4 weeks were really just like
individual locked in.
One-on-one, like there was probably times where he wanted to kill me, but we got like a lot done, and just like, I don't know. Shannon's the best. So
love it. Well, I guess Shannon, for you, what year did you see that mental switch in Erin? Like, I feel like every athlete, and Erin, you can talk on this too. I feel like when you go from high school to college, at some point, it could be freshman year, sophomore, at some point, you kind of see that athlete take up a whole mental turn from, take a turn from a mental standpoint for the better. And that's when you realize, because for you to just say like, hey, you're going to be a touring winner, like you had to see something in her that was like right there at the brink a little bit. It's like, all right, it's go time. Was that it, her junior year? Did you see it like earlier, like freshman year, sophomore year, whenever? When do y'all think that mindset kind of turned for you, Erin?
Believe it or not, for me, it was watching her play. What was that, your junior year? With that year, Izzy was hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was your junior year. And I saw how you guys really didn't miss a beat. You know, if it wasn't for a few minutes, you guys right back in the championship game. And I just saw how you led that year. And I'm always paying attention. That's one thing the kids knows about me. I'm always paying attention to like the extra stuff around the game, not necessarily the player. Like, you know, Erin has what I call gravity. You know, she can raise the floor, and she was able to do that. We also know how great Izzy is, but for them to still maintain that level, I was like, yo, she's operating at a different capacity. It shouldn't even realize it yet. You know, because usually when the star player goes out, teams kind of take a dip.
Oh yeah, big dip.
Because everyone's everyone roles gets reshuffled.
Right.
You know, I have people that have to step in and do things that they may not be comfortable and may not be capable of. I saw how she steadied the ship, and obviously having Laura Gilbert there that year, she was awesome for you guys today. You know,
it was great.
But I just saw
so. Erin, I saw Erin play. Erin, I saw you play Yeah, you were there. 20. What year was that for you? Probably your sophomore year, maybe 2021. When was that? When it was at John Hopkins, and it was y'all and y'all were in the Final Four, and y'all played. I want to say y'all played UNC. You remember that year?
Yeah, that was junior year. That was that year.
Was that your year?
Yeah.
That's the year.
Y'all took off crazy. I do remember that now.
And I'll never forget, bro. I was out to eat with a couple of my boys. It is like right as the summer was just starting. I'm eating tacos. And I get a text from Erin. It's like, hello, this is Erin Coykendall. Because we just had like this little running joke when I didn't hear for a while. Yeah. And I just remember telling my boys that, yo, we lit. I said, yo, one of my big dogs is back. I was like, yo, it's about to be a good summer. And the rest is history from there.
Crazy.
I could just tell. I just knew. I said, yo, she gets back in here, it's a wrap.
Yeah. Aaron, what about for you? When did you know, like, was it that summer? That's when you feel like mentally you click?
Yeah, I think that whole season, I think it was like, obviously like having Izzy go down was tough, but I thought throughout the season, like you learn so much in those situations and you learn, about yourself, and it kind of like forces you to elevate if you want to still have a chance to like get where you want to be as a team. And so, I thought like we learned so much that season as a team. I learned a lot as an individual. And then when we lost to UNC, like I just felt like after that game, we were like right there, and we had, like that UNC team, I think they were 22-0 or like they had an incredible team. Like we were right there. Literally, if, I think we played 54 minutes, maybe 52 of like a really, really, really good game that if we could have kept that up for the last 8 minutes, like, and carried that into the national championship, like we would have probably won that year. But obviously like we didn't. But it was, even though it obviously sucked to lose like that, it was also like, you're right there and like, you can do this and you guys are so close. And like knowing that Izzy was coming back and just like kind of losing like that, I think really like it like gave me a weird level of confidence that like we're capable. We just have to like put it all together. And it also kind of gave me like, definitely gave me like this sense of just like revenge, not even like against UNC or anything, but just like not wanting to feel like that again, not wanting to let 8 minutes of a 60-minute game like define the game. And so I think that, that summer is probably when like I really, like Shannon said, I texted him and I think I said, yeah, like, hey, it's Erin Coykendall from Spencerport. Just because like sometimes like he'd be like, wait, like, what's your name? Like if I like didn't show up for like a week or something, he'd be like,
yeah, Ryan Joe,
I'm Shannon, like nice to meet you. So like I hadn't seen him in a few months because I was in season, so I texted him that. But I think that's when I like really was like, okay, we're really close. I'm really close, and I just wanted to put myself in the best position to do whatever I could to help my team not have that same thing happen again.
Gotcha. That's solid. What so I guess we probably got like a lot of high school girls that may watch this. Like how did you find yourself, okay, going to Northwestern, coming out of high school? What was your wake up call freshman year? What was like that wake up call of like, all right, this game's a lot faster, or what, like whatever that may be. Like, what was your wake up call that freshman year? And what did you do to prep yourself moving forward?
I think one of the big things was like when my class was 12 girls. So my freshman class was 12 girls, and there was 36 girls on the team that year. And we had a few fifth years. So, we were actually like the biggest class on the team, like whatever. And I think we had maybe like a run test the first week or something. And just as a whole, like our class didn't do that well. And right from the jump, like Kelly brought us in and she was like, she's like, you guys, I don't care that you're freshmen. There's 12 of you and you're a third of this team. So we have like 5 grades on this team, but you guys make up a third of it. And if you guys act like freshmen and like pretty much perform like freshmen, like, and don't look at yourselves as like a vital part of this team, like we're not going to get where we want to get. And so right from the jump, it was like, okay, you're here. It doesn't matter that you're a freshman. Like there's 12 of us, we make up a third of the team. Like that's literally like a huge part of the team. And so I think right from the beginning, it was like, okay, there's no like you don't have, like, you can't just fall back on the fact that you're a freshman. Like you need to have like raise your expectations to do whatever you have to do so that in the practice setting and in whatever setting, like no one could look at this and be like, this is a freshman and this is a senior. And I think that was like huge. And then throughout the fall, actually, that my freshman fall was like a little different experience. I had my appendix out, so I missed the whole fall ball. And then when I came back in January, I just kind of got thrown like right in. And so I really didn't get like the time in the fall to learn all that much on the field, but it was a lot of like just watching people and trying to figure out like what do I need to do when I get back to not act, play, feel like a freshman. And then I think it was just, I think that talk was huge for me, for my class as a whole. And then, I got time my freshman year, and I think we played Syracuse or something, and I don't know, we lost to them, and my coach came up to me after the game and she was like, you aren't a freshman. Like, we're not putting you on the field to be like, to just swing the ball. Like, do what you do in practice, trust yourself. Like, you do well in practice, like shoot your 8 meters, like take the shots that you have. You're not just here to like set other people up. And I think that was big for me, like losing a game and hearing that, like, obviously they trusted me to do that, but sometimes it's hard when you're a freshman and, you're one of probably 2 or 3 freshmen that are seeing time. You don't want, first few games, you're kind of like gripping your stick a little tighter, trying not to make those mistakes. And then when my coach told me that, I think I was actually able to play a little bit freer, like hearing, they trust me, they want me to have a bigger impact, and not just like be that role player that's like swinging the ball. So I think it was like definitely an ongoing process of like figuring that out, that transition. But there's definitely a few events that I think for me, like mentally kind of snapped me into being like, okay, they trust you. They're putting you out there for a reason. Like, you're here for a reason. You're at Northwestern for a reason. And just trying to like trust that and trust that like it didn't matter that I was a freshman.
All right. Gotcha.
So real quick, because we are obviously between both of us and just in general, there's a lot of girls that want to play at a high level and play for a national championship caliber team. Just give us a little bit of insight, as much as you want to, on what that's really like and what, kids' expectations should be and what they should expect for themselves going in.
The sacrifices.
Yes, the sacrifices. Because, you're used to going to Final Four weekend. You're in seasons from January until basically June.
Right.
So that's a huge sacrifice. Speak on that and what's your expectations.
I mean, I think I'll start by saying like it's incredibly rewarding. Even like all the work you put in, when you like see it all, kind of get you to what you've dreamed of as like a little kid. It's extremely rewarding, but there's so much work that goes in, and there's a lot of things that, especially as you get older within these teams, become more and more important that you actually don't think about when you're like, oh, I want to go play for this national championship caliber program. So there's obviously like, I think everyone who says that, they're like, oh, I get it. Like, there's a lot of like, you're at practice for a while and you have to like go to lift right after, and you're doing this and you're doing that. And, you have a routine and everything you do is with your team. But it's like, it's like if we just showed up to what we were required to show up to, so every team meeting, lift, practice, team meals, like, which is a lot. But even if we just showed up to that, like, it wouldn't be enough. And there's so much work that goes in behind the scenes. And even like when it doesn't feel like it's lacrosse related, it probably is. So taking care of your, like, at Northwestern, we were we were pretty much in finals the week after the Final Four every year. And that's just like how our academic schedule goes. Some schools are different than that. But it was like, if you have free time, you better be like trying to get ahead on work so that you're not swamped. And you can be like fully present and fully there for every team event. And one of the biggest things I would say is like I think I said it, but it's, even though it doesn't feel lacrosse related, it probably is. So like doing things intentionally, especially as like an upperclassman and more of a leader role, like to create a really strong culture is just like so important. And I think that's something that goes like really like flies under the radar that people don't really think about as much as like they're thinking about going to programs like this. Like I think everyone thinks about the physical work and the school work and having to, stay eligible in school and do well in school while performing at the highest level, which is all super important. But it's like you need to create relationships with your teammates, which again isn't just going to happen in the practice setting. It's going to be like intentional efforts outside of that. There's just like so many different things that go into it. And like I said, it's incredibly rewarding, but it's one of those things that if you're not 100% sure that like that's what you want to be doing, you can lose sight of the importance of just little things really easily. And yeah, I mean, I would recommend it to anyone who's like 100% committed to doing whatever you need at whatever point in time to get your team to where you want to be. And that also like means that you go into these programs. Like when I committed to Northwestern, I had no idea if I was ever going to step on the field. You go to these programs and everyone who's there is the best in the country. And you don't know how, you might feel like you're really talented and can perform really well on the field, but you just don't know how you're going to fit into the into the schemes, or how you're going to fit in on the field with other people, or where the coach needs you. So I think that's another piece of it. And fortunately for me, I played like from freshman year and I played my whole career, but I think that's a really real part of it that people don't understand is just because you commit to one of these programs doesn't mean that you're going to play. And honestly, most people don't. And I think that being fun, like understanding the importance of your role, especially at these higher level programs where even though you might not be playing on game day, like every single thing you do is important, and just as important as the number one goal scorer or the starting goalie or the girl who wins every draw. Like the last 2 years, probably I would say are our most successful years as a group. Like our scout team was incredible, like so locked in, preparing us for every game. And they really bought into their role. And that's why we were able to be as successful as we were. And obviously, like they were incredible our whole career, but like there was just like a different level of buy-in those 2 years where we had incredible leaders in my class who were like, okay, this is our role. Like we're going to do this. And it makes the experience just fun for everyone. Those like the scout girls, because they actually bought into their role and wanted to be there and knew the importance of their role, like that just carried us so much farther and brought us together as a team. So there's a lot of like parts of it that aren't as, glorious as they seem, but I think you just have to be 100% committed to it.
Correct. I think like just hearing that, for a lot of girls, like wanting to go to that next level, it's a it's like a balancing beam act of like when you land at like a Northwestern, understanding like walking in, like you said, everybody in there is valid. Everybody's a great player, great athlete. So once you get to that point, like when talent meets talent, talent no longer matters, right? So like now we got to like prepare everything you just said, all the small details. I think that mental battle, and you may have seen it. I know you played since your freshman year, which is crazy and amazing. But like that balance of understanding that, okay, I'm not a starter right now, but you still have to move with confidence every day so that you can attribute to the team in your set role, right? Like you're saying, like these scout team players. And I think some people have it misconstrued of thinking like, I'll use this example. Some of your girls that played defense for Northwestern, they probably were like a midi and scored 100, 200 goals in high school. But because of their role that Northwestern needed them to play and they're playing at that high of a level, defense is my best attribute and I'm going to lean all the way into it. And I just feel like some girls may battle with that buy-in, because I can see how it could get sometimes, right? Like you got to be able to self-assess, and we talk about that all the time, Shan. It's just like a lot of athletes these days have the inability to self-assess. Like you going into the Northwestern locker room, you have to walk in with the confidence, like I'm Erin, like I'm her walking in here. But then at the same time, you got to be able to self-assess, like, okay, that fifth year is really good. She's better than me currently, but that's not to say that I'm bowing down or shutting down my confidence. It's just I'm really assessing the room and figuring out how I need to move to get there. Like, how does that? I don't even know if that's a question that I'm formulating, but how is that mindset? Have you seen girls, and obviously don't have to name drop, have you seen girls that kind of, she's walking so arrogant and thinking, I don't want to say arrogant, she's walking in her confidence, but she's not really a great teammate. She's starting to kind of like be that rotten piece of the team because she feels like she should be starting, but in reality, you're not better than the girl that we have in front of you, but you don't want to lean into that role of being a great scout player or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I think it's like real. And I think that, I think as competitors and as like humans especially competitors, like really at the highest level, I think it's natural. And I think that a lot of times can happen just like subconsciously. People, and like myself included, like obviously not the same example that you're talking about with like someone on the scout team, but you sometimes like get so caught up in what you're doing that you lose sight of like being a good teammate and being a good person. And that's kind of, a little bit of what I was referring to when I said like there's so much that goes into it.
Okay.
Not even lacrosse related, is there's like, at Northwestern, it was a lot of like holding each other accountable and our coach like pulling us in and being like, listen, like you're kind of being an asshole right now.
Right.
It's not like fun to hear. And a lot of times, our natural instinct is like, again, to kind of like put up a defense and be like, no. And again, it's not like most of the time with those situations, it's not intentional. But it's finding ways as a group, I would say, to, and as leaders to create a culture where people, are confident in their role, but not arrogant and not becoming a bad teammate. And it's a really like fine line to walk. But I think that I do think it's a real, I think it probably happens at every school. Again, a lot of times I think it's this subconscious thing that people might not even realize, like, hey, the way you're acting is actually affecting the team. And so like, kind of like I said, like those last 2 years, like when we just had such a strong culture and everyone was so bought into like their role and doing what the team needed for them, no matter what, we would have some defenders, like some defenders who maybe like second string defenders that would be playing like the top dodger in scout.
Right.
And so they're not even playing like their position in scout, but they're giving everything they got and they're like making us better. And that sort of buy-in was just like so important. But, and I think negativity spreads like wildfire. And so trying to like kind of cut that as soon as it presents itself was like just so important for us. And, I think being in a room of 35 girls, everything you do is contagious. And so you have to be really intentional with what you're doing. And if you see something that's not aligning with the team, like you have to kind of cut that because it just can be so contagious, especially negativity.
That's it. Deep.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. A little peek behind the curtain from,
That's real. And I mean, my biggest takeaway I just got from that is like, look, those 2 years that y'all made the push and y'all were ballot. I'm assuming, obviously, we know that locker room was crazy talented, but you're saying the buy-in was more important than the talent level. Because once you hit a certain talent level, like you have that potential to be a contender for a national championship, but to make it to Final Fours, to actually go to a championship, win a championship, it's the buy-in is more important than anything across the board for the entire team.
Yeah, 100%. And it was like, I mean, we worked at Northwestern. We worked like countless hours on just mindset and really like hammering that concept home of this is more important. Like we are talented enough to win a national championship, and it's not going to be our talent that stops us. And what we kind of went off of was if someone beats us, it better be because they're just that much better at lacrosse than us.
Mm-hmm.
It nothing to do with culture, nothing to do with effort, attitude, energy. Like they better just be that much better than us at lacrosse. And obviously, it's a little bit extreme. Like you can have an off day, but that's kind of how we viewed it. And we felt like what we did on the field and in practice was like that was going to be hard for a team to do. Was, like all the physical work. Obviously, you said like locker room is just full of talent. So when we kind of put our focus on the other stuff, I think that's when we really saw like everything kind of start to come together.
Solid. That's good. Real quick. So what's it like? Because a lot of gyms around. What's it like training with other top players in the country? Because, everybody in my gym and row too, what's that atmosphere like, and how does that benefit you think?
Oh, I mean, you can't beat it. It's like so important. And I think especially like in college, obviously you're playing at this really high level and you're surrounding yourself with people who have the same goals as you from, September to November and then January to June. But those months where you go home and you're away from your team are just like that's where you're going to make the greatest individual strides. And it's pretty hard to make those strides when you're not surrounded by people with the same goals as you. So even though they're not on the same teams or they're not committed to the same schools, like they're the best of the best at whatever level they're at. So, the top high schoolers, like everyone, when you're in an environment where everyone is striving to be the best that they can be at their level and for their future and for their teams that they're going to go back to in September, it just elevates everything. It's, you're working with people who have a level of focus and intent. And I think kind of going back to what I said, like everything we do, especially as like young girls, is contagious. So if one or two people like start to goof off in a setting, like that very quickly can spiral, and then the whole team or whole group or whoever you're working with can start to like lose focus and lose intent. And so when you're surrounding yourself with the best people and you see like them grinding, it just kind of pushes you to stay focused and stay intentional and make each other better. And I also think you get to just like learn from other people. You get to like pick up different little pieces of their games and share little pieces of yours and just learn so much from so many different people and different, perspectives, different like people coming back from different schools, bringing back different things from their coaches and just sharing bits and pieces. Like, you really can't like talk enough about the importance of having such a strong group, especially like in college over the summers, because you are at that high level. And if you just go back to home and you're just working out on your own, you lose, there's no other way to replicate that intensity and that level of care, I would say.
But that's awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry about a little technical difficulties in the beginning.
Well, that's
Any advice for the young racers coming up?
I think one of the biggest things is just, I think that confidence is huge as female athletes, and your confidence is going to come from your preparation. So I think like the year I made the biggest strides in my confidence, I just believed in myself on the field, and my teammates believed in me. And I think my coach one time told me, why would anyone else believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? And I think that's like just so true. Like, why would I ask someone to believe that I could do this if I don't even think I could do this? And so putting in the work is really where that confidence is going to come from. So just enjoy the process and believe in yourself. Just keep working and get in with Shan in a row.
That's it.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Anything else, bro?
I think 44 minutes in. That we'll let Erin go. She's gonna send us an invoice here in a second.
All right.
No.
They gotta stay under an hour.
Gonna keep it under an hour. Okay. I got last one. We're out.
Okay.
All right. Because you brought up the BCB, y'all were working on the BCBs that 1 week, 2 hours a day, just going through it, and it became just a part of your game.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? We know the game is evolving. I think Shannon and I, we've talked about this a little bit before. Being that we didn't play lacrosse, I think for us, we see the movement and we watch the game from a different lens than somebody that's played the game. And some that play the game, they do have that lens too. But I'm saying we can see the evolution of the game. Like, I can see the difference of the game now compared to 2020, 2021. But the traditional style of play, like if you're a girl and you have a coach that's very traditional, only shoot overhand, right? Like, just like little things that are just very traditional. What do you tell that girl to expand her game? Like, how should she work on these things on her own? And I don't know if you played like your high school coach, how it was for you, but like, I know a lot of our girls, they feel almost like on a leash. Like, they can't really, like, my coach hates shooting sidearm. Like, I've been telling our girls now, when we dodge, we're dodging to get our hands free, whatever it looks like. After we had that conversation, first episode, Shan, it was just like, hey, get your hands free, be able to focus at any angle, right? So I know and we've talked about it, it's kind of frowned upon behind coaches. Like, some coaches may not like Ro, they may not like Shannon because we're telling our girls to do this. But then you watch Erin go out there and she's going BTVs, she's going sidearm, she's getting shots off and she's scoring, and it's becoming highlights, and it's becoming so much more normal in the game of lacrosse. What do you tell a girl how can she do these things without being cancerous to her team or coach?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is like getting good at it and getting confident at it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If you jab left and drop your hands and pin like the top corner on a sidearm, your coach is going to say, like, don't do that again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's not like it's not in a disrespectful way to the coach, but it's more just like you said, like, we have to watch the game and watch how it evolves. And, some people are really, really good at just like traditional, like, dodge overhand, like, and they're really good at it and it works for them. Some people, like, like for me, and this is kind of why I think lacrosse is so fun, is I think like any sort of type of athlete can play. So you don't have to be the strongest, you don't have to be the fastest to make it work and to be successful. And, for me, like, dropping my hands and shooting around someone is, maybe I'm not going to just run by someone. Like I'm most likely not just going to like blow by my defender with speed and get an overhand shot, but I might be able to, throw a fake and be deceptive and drop my hands and shoot around them when they give me that half a second of space. And I think that what I would tell girls is just, maybe if their coach is saying like, don't do that at practice, like go do it in your backyard, rep it, get really good at it, get confident in it. Most of these girls play club and town and high school or whatever it is, like they're playing for 3 or 4 different coaches at a time. Maybe one of their coaches is saying no, but maybe their other coaches don't care. So go do it, get good at it in your backyard, rep it in practice, low pressure situations, and, just continue to like, maybe their coach isn't teaching it, watch. There's so many different, you watch like Through X with Paul Carcaterra. He just did one on Coulter Rakasi, and he's talking about how sidearm is fundamental now. Like you need to be able to shoot sidearm. And he was one of the top picks in the PLL draft this year, one of the most successful like it's, I don't know, to me, it kind of speaks for itself, and it's crazy that it's, there's still people who are saying like, you can't, like, don't do that. You can't do that. And I just think, the more we can get confident in it, rep it out, watch, learn, and just, like I said, if you do it in a game and pin a top corner, like your coach can tell you not to do it again, but the coach, the college coach on the sideline who knows how the game is evolving is going to be like, oh yeah, that was sick.
Right.
Thank you. You sound like an echo. Thank you.
Correct.
This gonna be the first clip posted.
Right. I just wanted to like hear it from somebody playing at that high level. Like here's Erin telling you this. No,
that's crazy enough. Like as much time as we spent on that BTB, there's another shot we worked on. We spent even longer. She knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I've never seen her so frustrated in my entire life.
Right.
Yeah. She would not leave. If she got it, if she knows me, she got it. It was okay.
Yeah.
Like, was that good enough? I just kind of went. It's just.
One time I hit, like it went in.
Yeah.
Because he was like, you got to finish on a make or something. And this is like probably 2 hours in. Like and it wasn't even like that physically taxing. It was just like a summer day.
Yeah.
Standing there posted up like 5x5. He's like, he just looks at me. He goes, "You're going to leave on that one?" I'm like,
that's the worst. Yeah. Yeah. That's the one that gives you the question. Like, the inner greatness of Erin is like, oh, I can't swap out.
And she just looked at me. She was like, oh my God.
I know. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness. I'll never forget that. But just habits, man,
Yeah.
Just habits. But again, thank you so much. We'll let you go. Please don't hit over the head too much with this invoice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right.
Chill out, man. Listen. We can scrape together. We're going to scrape together something to get it to you.
No. Nope. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Let me know if you need anything else. Got you.
Yeah.